The year was 2016. Blake Lively and Parker Posey sat down with Kjersti Flaa, a Norwegian journalist, to promote their new film. If you want more detailed information about this particular interview, please check out the video that my wife recently did on the debacle. What should have been a routine interview quickly devolved into a cringeworthy display of Hollywood elitism. Flaa, clearly unprepared for the onslaught of passive-aggressive behavior, became visibly uncomfortable. The interview quickly went viral, but not for the reasons one might expect. Throughout the interview, Lively ignored the journalist, replied with sarcastic comments, and alluded to her being sexist. While you may think perhaps this was a misunderstanding, it certainly was not.
Throughout the interview, Blake and Parker are talking to Kjersti in a way that people online are describing as a Mean Girls vibe. Is this behavior actually ill-intended, or is it just an awkward moment that played off that way?
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you...
Everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would.
Awkward, right? I feel like anyone watching this could feel the discomfort, and there's a lot going on behaviorally that indicates whether it's just awkwardness or actually malicious. A lot of people are talking about the snapback, how the first awkward thing that happens is this compliment comes in and she just throws it back at her. But the first sign behaviorally of something going on here isn't what we see or hear, it's what's missing. And the first thing that normally we see when there's a congratulations for anything, almost as a reflex, is a thank you or an acknowledgement or a smile or something. So that's the first thing that's missing. She doesn't acknowledge the congratulations, she immediately comes back with something. And the reason I say come back is because that's exactly what this is. And there's a behavioral indication of that. When the compliment comes in, if you look at her face, there isn't even a moment of a soft acknowledgement or even a thank you non-verbally, like something kind. What we do see is her eyes go down, glaze over for a sec, and we see this quick shift in the eyes. This is very consistent with looking for something, looking for an answer. A place we very commonly see this behavior is with comedians or live entertainers on stage when somebody says something from the audience and they very quickly have to think of something to come back with. And we see that quick shift as they find something and hit them back. So what that suggests is that in this moment, when that compliment came in, her response to that immediately wasn't to acknowledge or to thank, but rather to think of something to snap back with. And that's what she came up with. She's purposely trying to introduce conflict. She's being confrontational. Look at the way her hand says, congrats on your little bump. And we see this jerky forward gesture with the hand, and then she comes back and we hear this audible slap down on her legs. This isn't being delivered as a joke. We're not seeing this softness around it. And again, that lack of thank you so much and then trying to make humor means that she's going to this confrontational place almost immediately.
Flaa tried to maintain her professionalism, but it was evident that this behavior was getting under her skin and making her very uncomfortable. The message was clear. Lively considered Flaa and perhaps the entire interview beneath her. Lively's behavior was a masterclass in subtle bullying. She never raised her voice, never resorted to overt insults. But her disdain was evident in every word and gesture. But we're not here to talk about Blake Lively today. Again, if you want to know more about Lively's role in this situation, check out the video that my wife Brittany made on the subject. Today, this video is going to be touching on something that nobody else seems to be talking about. While Lively was the undisputed ringleader of this unfortunate spectacle, her actions were not isolated. She was the face of the incident, the one who drew the most attention with her brazen behavior. But behind every ringleader, there are those who enable and support, whether actively or passively. But who are we referring to? That's right, Parker Posey. Parker Posey, who gained her stardom in the world of indie films, was far from innocent. Known for her nuanced performances and strong presence, Posey has built a reputation for being a very sly and untrusting character on the big screen. But perhaps her on-screen characters do not differ too much from her off-screen personality. Posey, instead of using her presence to steer the conversation in a more respectful direction, chose to add fuel to the fire. This was not just a passive act. It was a deliberate choice. Not only was she silent about the disrespect being shown to Flaa, but she fed into the mean girl persona that Lively created. She literally helped to bully the reporter, ignoring her, making her feel like less of a human being. Posey's complicity is perhaps more insidious than Lively's outward aggression. While Lively's actions were overt and easily condemned, Posey's more quiet, sneaky contribution was more difficult to pinpoint, but equally damaging. It's the kind of complicity that allows toxic behavior to flourish unchecked. Posey lent her considerable star power to the bullying that Lively instigated. Her presence alongside Lively gave the impression that this behavior was acceptable, even normal, sickening. She became a willing participant in the humiliation of a young journalist just trying to do her job. The journalist, caught in the crossfire of celebrity antics, was left to fend for herself. One moment in the interview stands out as particularly egregious, as Flaa at the end of the interview, clearly flustered by the hostile atmosphere, thanks the two women for their time. As she steps out of the room, Posey shoots Lively a knowing look. It's a split-second interaction easily missed if you're not paying attention. That look we've seen so many times from the evil on-screen persona that Parker Posey plays. It was a look of shared amusement at the journalist's expense. It was a look of superiority, a look that said, she'll never step foot in this town again. It was a silent confirmation that they were both in on the joke. And the joke was Kjersti Flaa. The aftermath of the interview was swift and brutal for Flaa. For 8 long years, she was haunted by this interview. The experience left her shaken and demoralized. She had always considered herself strong, but this was different. Flaa later revealed that she suffered panic attacks. She loved her job, but she actually considered leaving it because of this interaction. Parker Posey's silence in the face of Lively's behavior is unacceptable, and unfortunately, many are not even calling her out on it. She should have used her voice to support Flaa to create a more respectful environment. Instead, Posey chose silence, and in doing so, she became complicit in the bullying. She sent a clear message that this kind of behavior is okay, that it's something to be laughed at, not condemned. Somehow Posey has been able to skirt the spotlight of this issue, but not anymore. She should be apologizing just as much, if not more so, than Lively. It's been years since the interview, and Posey has remained silent on the issue. This silence is deafening. It speaks volumes about her character, or lack thereof. It's time for Parker Posey and Lively to be held accountable for her actions. It's time for her to issue a public apology to Kjersti Flaa. Let's make it clear that bullying in any form is never okay. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you at the next video.
I'm not the villain of the story. I'm the hero.